Hey guys and girls, welcome to Forgetting Walls, the podcast, and this is episode 32. This week, a few notes in the beginning. If you don't like all the chit-chat and the talking, we have a long talk about comic books and sci-fi movies and things like that. So skip on ahead to about 26 minutes. You'll get to the first break. We have a second break at 35 minutes. But this week we talk about art in the church and how it all looks together. And in this week's episode, Bobby and Ryan join me, Keith, and Justin, and we have a blast just chit-chatting, joking, but kind of getting serious about what the art of music, movies, poetry, and art in of itself looks like in the confines of the church and how it all fits together. So this week, sit back and enjoy, as always. Our intro is Ben Sound at bensound.com. That's the dubstep that you hear. We have a few good musical breaks this week. And hey, by the way, go check out Johnson the Sound for me, because that's our boy Darcy Rumble up north. And he likes it just like you like it. It's time for that dubstep.
You are off your game.
Off the game. He took a week off.
So he's slacking.
And he's slacking.
I'm back, guys. Slacking.
And hey, everybody, welcome to Forgetting Walls, the podcast, and you are at episode 32. Yes, we've made it one more week with Justin.
Yay!
We have now got more weeks than we have subscribers.
Oh, that's fair. It took this long?
It took
I still haven't subscribed.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Thanks, Keith. So tonight we have
a full house.
We have a full house tonight. So you know me. I don't have to say my name, and you know the guy that sits next to me. I don't have to say his name because it's the same name.
What's up?
Justin is back this week. Justin.
Hey guys, woo! I'm back. I know you guys missed me last week.
Yeah. No, not really. No.
That's it. I quit.
Yeah, right.
I'm done.
You're fired.
You fired.
No.
That was bad.
You fired.
No, that's still bad.
Still bad.
One more time.
You're fired.
You fired.
Back after a long absence. The crazy man, Bobby, is back with us. You got to say, hey, you just can't wave. They can't see you.
Hey.
And after a long absence, oh, fruit of my looms.
The prodigal son. You're weaving children now? What?
Yeah, there it is. The fruit of my looms. Ron's on the show with us.
What's up?
Yeah, make sure y'all talking to the mic. We always have to do this with people. Y'all may have to. I don't care. Just
I think I'm going to have to use this one.
Okay.
You share with me, and then Bobby.
I mean,
and we'll just edit all this out.
My own mic, I'm okay with having
So I want to start with one thing that's been like just bugging me, and I know if people listen to this, they'll
Insects?
No.
Like mosquitoes?
No.
Okay.
It could be like mosquitoes. So,
Donald Trump?
No, I don't have any issues with Donald Trump.
You fired.
No.
I don't have any issues with Donald Trump. He can do what he wants. He's got enough money. He's earned his rights.
Thanks, Obama.
I don't know how I feel about that, but I'll let that one go.
Look, the man made his money. Do what you want. If I had that much money, I'd probably do something stupid too.
I love that he's just like, you know what? I mean, I'm not political aside. I just love that he's just like, you know what? I don't care what I say. I want to be that guy.
It's hilarious.
Like, my wife would kill me for being that guy, but I want to be that guy.
It's hilarious because it's like, all right, I'm going to piss everybody off.
Yeah.
Like, literally everybody.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think it's even intentional. He's just like, you know what? Whatever crazy stuff, like, burn it down.
Yeah. The fact that he rolls out of bed and he's like, I'm going to run for president today.
Yes.
Well, but that's my thing. If you make that much money in your life, you pretty much have the ability to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because nobody can tell you no.
No.
I want to run for president, and I'm going to say what I want to say on TV. And I don't agree with everything he says, but he's earned his.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have the right to say what we want to say. I've got to edit these things out, so make sure we're not talking when we do that.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, what's the one thing that you wanted to?
Yeah.
Well,
That's probably going to be
That
in
bugs
here.
you.
I
Back on
have
topic.
issues with rainbows.
Oh, okay. Like
The flip-flops?
shoes or
with how they're used,
Are-
or bandanas around Boy Scouts.
Are y'all picking
man.
on Kenny again?
No,
Light refraction in the sky.
no. I have Facebook
moisture.
rainbows.
Oh, okay, I got you. Oh, yeah, I don't like
the
those
profile
either.
pic stuff?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
because
Don't sit like this while you're talking about rainbows.
because
I've had a problem with rainbows. Can't stand them. They drive me crazy.
so
I'm coming back every week if Bobby comes back.
this is going to get really interesting.
I'm sorry. Make sure that is sworn on the podcast.
So
Okay.
here we go.
Rainbows.
So Facebook rainbows, right? Oh my god!
You got to leave this in there, though. Like, just 3 straight minutes of nothing but laughing.
I hope people laugh with us and don't turn it off.
Rainbows. I love rainbows. I love them.
So
All right, so the point is, I don't have a problem with people putting it on their Facebook profile picture. I mean, if
Right.
you want to do it, that's fine. But my problem is I think there's more straight people with them on their Facebook profile picture than there are gay people.
There's half people I know don't even know what's going on. And they're just like, I love this filter.
Huh? What's the, Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why do it anyways?
Okay. So I think the main reason why a lot of people did it, one, the main reason or why it's there is to signify that you are a supporter of the LGBT movement.
Right.
Like, you know, with the SCOTUS ruling, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, passing and all that stuff. It's like, it's giving your social profile, it's showing people that you are a supporter of this. However, it also is a result of people kind of bandwagoning things and going with popular trends. It's a little bit of both, but the reason it was started is you know, it's to show people that you're a supporter of it.
Okay, how long should you keep it on your Facebook profile?
And that's a huge thing, because you know, say that happens a lot with
I like
social
that.
media things.
Yeah.
Such as, you know, like Coney 2012, and you know, when they had the equal sign as their profile pic. At what point do you take that down? That's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a huge thing.
Well, for me, it's just it stands out. Okay, so I'm straight and I support that community,
Right.
But I literally have like a number of people on my Facebook who are in that community, and not one single person has that on their profile picture.
I'm the exact same. I totally feel that. I know people on my profile that, you know, gay, lesbian, whatever, and not one of them.
Speak up.
Oh, but yeah, I just know people that are in that, and they're super glad that, you know, everything passed and that they can
Yeah.
do that. But I haven't seen them.
I don't know.
change
It was
their
a
profile
funny trend for me.
I can't say that.
Right.
Everybody I know that's gay is rainbowed up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
mean
same
that.
here.
I don't mean that in like a derogatory term. I'm just saying they just like
Yeah.
as soon as it came out, that pride filter was being worked overtime.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just weird
That's
for
my
me.
2 cents.
Okay.
I'm a narcissist. I want people to see me with no filter.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, I understand it. Like I said, if you agree with it or don't agree with it, I understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you said, there's people that, I mean, it's like the equal sign when they were trying to fight for equal
Yeah,
rights.
exactly.
Yeah.
They put it up, and if you agree with it or you didn't, you put it up. It was up for about a week, and you let it go. And I understand, you know, there's two sides to every argument. Some people are like, well, you're, you know, like a weekend supporter, for lack of a better
Right.
term. And then you got those people that try to support it forever. But I mean, there comes a point where everybody's like, okay, we get it. You know, we get you to support it. Move on. And some people don't. They just keep it up. And
I think it's just like whenever you get a new selfie, like a good quality selfie, you just switch it out. I mean, legitimately,
Yeah.
I mean this, like, seriously. Like, you find a new profile picture, go ahead and replace it. I mean, it was there, it served its purpose.
Yeah.
We're good.
I'm
Don't beat
a
a dead cat. That's how I feel it. You know, I think
Yeah.
after, like Bobby was saying, if, you know, you keep it up for too long, it ends up more negative than it was positive.
Yeah. Just don't be that guy that takes a numerous amount of selfies of the same picture.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I found interesting this week was a friend sent me a nice article.
Okay.
They're redesigning the Chucks.
I saw that.
I saw that also.
You might have redone it,
Yeah.
whatever you call it.
That's the technical Facebook term.
Shared it. Shared it.
Yes, yes.
Us in the Facebook world call it sharing,
Yeah.
I guess. Wow, I'm only 25 and I feel like I'm 87. Them sharing things
You're
with
only
the
25?
kids. Yeah, I'm only 25. Just because I've got kids doesn't mean I've like aged. God, I know. You get kids and it's like, oh, Bobby's 40 now. Wow.
No, I thought you were older than, like, significantly older
Yeah,
than
I
me.
thought
But you're
you
only
were,
like a
like-
year older than me.
Oh, I was thinking
We
like
went to
28.
high school together,
Yeah,
Keith.
but we were like 2 different grades.
No,
Like,
we
two-
weren't.
2
You
grades
were in
apart.
ninth grade when I was in 10th. We were there for 3 years together. Dude, simple math. Did you fail that?
I think he did.
I must have.
But he did great.
I told you to stop smoking
So-
that reefer. Back then.
Hey,
Look what it did to...
So the Chucks are getting a redesign, but
Yeah.
I want to say this: they're not redesigning the look.
Right.
They're just adding the Nike comfort.
Let me ask
to
you
them.
something.
Yeah.
About the Converses. This is going to be an odd story. We used to have a thrift store.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I don't know if you remember it or not.
Yeah.
Somebody brought in a pair of Converses that my dad gave me. And the logo was actually on the outside.
Yeah.
And the new ones they are on the inside, right?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Are they redesigning that too? Or,
Everything on the outside is staying the same.
Okay.
The only thing they're doing to
or it
the
might have
Chuck
been on the
2s.
inside to the outside. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
The only thing they did to the Chuck 2s is add the Nike shoe technology, and it's just it's just basically going to give it a better. I mean, you're still not going to run a marathon in Chucks, but it's
Right.
going to be a lot better to have them on. They're going to put it into the sole and cushions and everything. So
I really,
They
so it's
won't
not
feel
going to be
like
that
crap.
hard flat foot.
yeah,
Yeah. Thank
like
goodness.
I was reading I saw an article about it and I was reading it and I didn't realize how old Chucks were. Apparently
Yeah.
the original design is
They were the first
like,
tennis shoe.
They're like pretty much 100 years old.
yeah,
I had
they're
no
old.
idea they actually had like
Yeah,
shoes like that.
no, yeah,
My
they
great great grandma had Chucks.
yeah.
True story.
Like she dated Chuck.
I feel like you're not being serious.
I'm not. That was a joke.
Come on, PSA. Bobby's always joking until all the laughter stops,
Yep.
and then he's serious. Sorta.
Maybe. I have my
So-
serious moments.
So the other section of information I need to do before we hit the reco time
Yeah.
is I had a trailer field weekend and I wasn't at my son's house. So
Shots fired.
Stay out of my single one, right? Stay out of it.
That's the hashtag for the night. Stay out of my single wide.
Hashtag stay out.
Yeah.
but
My single wide.
so just to keep everybody up to date, we are 143 days away from Star Wars episode 7. That's right. It's awesome. It's coming up. But I watched a few trailers this week.
Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum.
No, I didn't
Talking about-
watch that one.
You didn't watch the Bond trailer? Oh, it's super good.
No, I mean,
Anybody seen Pixels?
I saw it this weekend.
Is it?
It is amazing. I was going to speak about Pixels,
Okay.
but I did get to see Pixels.
Because everybody else is knocking it, and my son's like, I really want to go see it.
It is
and I'm
amazing.
talking to my kids, so I'm sorry, guys.
It's fine.
Um,
It's amazing. I enjoyed it. It brings me back to my
Well,
childhood
like
days.
I said, we had talked about it before. I think Adam Sandler, like no matter what movie he's in, he still
love it.
brings that element. I don't
Yeah.
care what you say.
I mean, yeah,
He's in there, it's good.
It's just he's got
I don't know.
a certain thing he's doing now that like grown ups and all that. I think he's just really being himself in these movies. You know what I mean? I don't mean like bringing. He's just
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
making money doing stuff that
It's-
are
it's-
fun.
Look,
Yeah, you can
When
light
you-
me on fire, and I'll be myself the day of the week and run down a hill. You know, if you film it, I'm just being myself. I'm not. It's probably a very bad analogy, but
Just light me on fire.
like the Jackass stuff. I probably shouldn't say that either.
It's
Can
fine.
I say that?
it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just happy doing stuff like that.
I feel like he lost something after
Yeah,
some of
his
those
hair.
first few movies. Like ever
were
since
very over
Eight
the
Crazy Nights, I'm just like, I'm over you, Adam Sandler.
50 First Dates was the last one that he probably was Adam Sandler
Yes.
in.
Yes.
I don't know. I like Blended. Blended was good.
I haven't seen that.
After Click, Click was kind of like this is where he said. Grown Ups
I
was a
kinda like
different
Click,
story.
too.
I love Click.
Let's
But
just
like,
put it like this: we all grow up at some point.
yeah.
Yeah.
and he grew up.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's making money now.
yeah, I
He's
mean,
making money then.
But Pixels, I recommend Pixels. Not as my reco, but I mean, if you haven't seen a decently good movie that
Something
you
to
can take
kill the
you can
theater.
take your kids to see this. There's only a couple
You
of
and
curse
Ryan
words
can
in
go.
it. Yeah, I could. He could
love to go
Stay
see
out of
that.
his single wife.
You
Yeah.
could buy.
Hashtag.
But some of the trailers
Rainbows.
that I want to throw out this week were Suicide Squad. I saw that trailer.
Is it good? I don't know how I feel about the new Jared Leto as the Joker. I can't.
That's what everybody says.
I
That's the thing.
I'm not a
That's
fan of Jared Leto.
But
I don't mind them, but
Is
I'm-
he gay or is he straight? I don't know.
I didn't know that was even a question.
I didn't know. I just.
it is now.
Well, see, like I don't care one way or the other, but like you see him and he acts, it's like, well, I can see him
It's-
doing the transvestite, but he's not gay. But then he is gay.
you know,
I
didn't realize Jared Leto was an actor until after I knew who he was in 30 Seconds to Mars.
Oh yeah, he's in Fight Club.
Yeah, I know he's in
Yeah.
Fight Club. I know he's the blonde dude who got his butt whipped.
Yeah.
Supremely bad.
Great actor.
That's a good job there, buddy. Once you get up. But that was interesting. If you haven't seen it, that was an interesting trailer. The other trailer that I thought was interesting was the new trailer to Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
That is pretty good. I'm actually kind of stoked to watch this.
the Batman versus.
I'm more excited now that the new trailers came in.
Yeah, me too.
Because the first one I was just like, what? Like I just
Yeah.
Am I the
what?
only one that's kind of like I'm an Avengers, like I'm always been a Marvel.
I'm a
person.
Marvel person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
I'm a Marvel
It's like
person.
when don't get me wrong, I love Batman. Everybody loves Batman, Superman, and
I like
Spider-Man.
Superman.
But it's like,
Spider-Man's Marvel.
yeah, I know that. I'm saying, well, what I was naming was like the three big guys.
Yeah,
Like when it
yeah.
comes to Marvel Spider-Man, from
Yeah.
everything. Like I'm not gonna go into like statistics, but like it's like Spider-Man's the head guy. Then like
Yeah.
Captain
I
America,
agree.
Wolverine, and all that. Well, I mean that's just the fact. Anyway, I just when it comes to like Superman and Batman, I want to see it because I love the Batman movies because just especially
Yeah.
Christian Bale. But I'm not like a Batman fan. Like I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is that I love the aspect of superhero action. Not
Yeah.
just, I'm like,
I agree with
okay,
you.
sure,
Yeah.
some superhumans blowing up stuff, fighting. That's why I want to go see it.
Yeah.
But Avengers, I was like, I want to go see that because the Hulk is awesome. He's gonna tear
Dude,
something
the
up.
Avengers 2 with the script.
Haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen. I'm not going to tell you
I haven't
anything about
either.
it. But
Yeah.
but the script, like have you seen number one? Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, the script writing, because everything's been established, plus all the movies, the characters are established. There's jokes between the characters and all
Yeah.
that. The movie was good. Don't get me wrong. The action was great and all that. Yeah, it is. But the dialogue between the characters and the way they develop, because they're there. You just can have the interaction with the characters. Greatest thing. Oh man,
Awesome.
My son loved it.
I can't wait to. But I think I'm stoked about this is because the one thing from the DC world that I've always loved was the death of Superman or Superman dies, whatever. That's great. And then when Batman kicks Superman's butt. I mean,
Yes.
it's the most epic thing ever because you can tell that just because you're a superhuman, and I don't, and let me be frank about this, and not Keith, I don't ever contribute that Batman is actually a superhero. He's a hero.
Yeah.
He's just very smart with wealth.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's kind of a BA. Like he can fight.
No, I'm not saying that, but
teetotal,
there's
but
no
he's
there's no
definitely
supernatural ability.
He's super
Batman
rich.
or Daredevil. Take the gadgets out.
Batman.
I don't know.
Well, but see, there's a superhuman ability to Daredevil
Well, I'm saying like a one-on-one, who would win? Daredevil's
with
blind.
no gadgets.
No gadgets.
just like fist to
Dark
fist.
Knight series.
Yeah, but we're also talking Frank Miller both sides because Frank Miller did
Yeah.
he did Batman and he did
Yeah.
Daredevil. So if you go with that, who do you go with? Because I'm sorry, Daredevil's kind of got the edge.
Yeah, I would probably give it to him without the gadgets.
Now gadgets, he's blowing Daredevil up.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah,
he knows.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He knows what he's going to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring this into my realm.
I'm not.
You were talking
Lord
about
of the Rings.
Superman and Batman kicking his butt.
Yeah.
All right, who do you think would win in a fight between Superman and our boy Goku?
Oh my God, Superman.
Well, I was just talking to Sterling, younger brother.
No, you can't
He has
take what
strong
Sterling
opinions.
says
No,
into account.
listen. They take into like real,
Yeah, they do.
and it's the fact that Goku has limits and Superman doesn't. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, that
And also
Well,
because
I mean,
and also, I know we're getting a little nerdy here, and that's fine with me.
I don't
But
care.
the big thing is that Goku draws all his power from light energy, and that's what Superman feeds off of. So I would have to give the advantage to Superman.
yeah. I
well,
mean,
they actually did it on
Yeah.
but I mean,
Twice.
Superman wins both times.
yeah.
Yeah.
But see, that's a joke, though,
Yeah.
because they don't take into account the most simple thing that could happen. Why is Batman able to kick Superman's butt?
Kryptonite.
Yeah.
Goku has a power called instant transmission, where he can transmit himself.
Listen, if you really,
instantly,
if you watch,
literally instantly.
if you watch
Anywhere.
Dragon Ball Z
See, I've never
versus
thought
the
about
Superman movies,
No, you're right.
totally give it
Goku's a god. I mean, like,
Yeah.
in the movie, now don't get me wrong, you can compare this and that and the other, but like Goku at like his ultimate everything. I mean, like Superman doesn't honestly stand a chance. I mean, really, because all Goku's got to do is just blow everything in the universe up. And,
Well,
I mean,
like in the
Superman's
videos,
just going to pick up something and throw it at him.
in the videos that they do that kind of compares. Hi,
Sorry,
Justin.
bud.
They kind of compare their actual
We're
powers.
forgetting Walls.
You know, they're kind of on the same. They're kind of on the same plane strength wise. In fact, I think they give
Yeah.
Superman a little bit of an edge. But if Goku can just like pop over to Batman's place and just be like, "Can I get some kryptonite?" or even go to like the galaxy or like
Superman's
the,
gotten out of control. Can
Yeah.
I borrow some?
But see, the problem is, like, if you wrote it, if you actually like paid attention to the character, Goku would transport there and then like realize there's like an entire refrigerator of food, and the fight would be over because you'd be out and he'd be passed out and ate everything in Batman's house, probably the kryptonite as well.
or Goku, because he can breathe in outer
My wife
space, and so can Superman. All he has to do is be like, "All right, Superman, just grab onto him and transmit him," because instant transmission automatically works on the person you're touching. Just transport him away from a yellow sun, and then he loses like all of his power.
Or the
True.
spirit bomb. I mean,
Well, for all the female listeners who are not with us anymore, and Justin, who's like,
Sorry, Justin.
Justin,
good conversation.
I'm not a
get beer.
big nerd, but okay, I am.
I am.
I'm a huge nerd.
Now, the trailer that I
Closet
thought
nerd.
was very interesting that
I don't have a pride picture.
was the Matt Damon film coming out, The Martian. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'm not going to spoil it
Is
for
Matt
you.
Damon the Martian Manhunter?
No. It's the title.
That got me excited for
The
a second.
but the title it leaves you kind of clueless when you're going into it because you're thinking you're expecting something else. I think it's going to be a good movie. The Goosebumps trailer, if y'all haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain
Just
America, the new one coming out.
Have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously not came out till like 2017.
Yeah, but
Um,
there's stills.
But my question is are they actually going to have Spider-Man in it, or is that the rumor? Or
I don't know. Haven't read anything about that one yet.
That's all I've heard is rumors. Is
Yeah.
that there's going to be Spider-Man.
I'm hoping there is. Plus, I've also heard Captain America might die in that one, and see that would really like I
Yeah.
would be done watching any Marvel movie
The,
because I'm a Captain America fan. I mean, I don't know why.
before we get to the other two Marvel trailers that I saw, Independence Day *2.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a
It's-
thing?
Is both
That's
of
it.
them are both
No.
of them in it?
No.
It's going to be everybody but Will Smith is going to be in it.
What?
Yeah, because
Then there's no way I'm watching
the
it.
son in the movie is grown up and he's now a part of the post World War II type post-apocalyptic kind of scene that's going on. I didn't read all into it, but most everybody's going to be there except for Will, and they kind of gave him this big out in the movie, so he probably didn't want to do it. It could have been up to him.
Oh, I guarantee they came up with it, and he's
Yeah.
probably like, or he's busy. But I mean, like, I can't.
And then Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I can't do that one.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not interested.
Jessica
in that one.
Alba's not in this one, is she?
No, and that's why I'm not watching it.
It looks realer, but realer. It looks realer, guys.
Yeah.
But I just can't. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's tough.
I
Have you heard
mean,
of this
the
one?
thing.
The
Looks,
Revenant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that one.
the thing looks like like a cat
I'll watch
threw
it.
him up.
It's a Marvel movie. I'll watch it.
That's what I'm saying though.
It's a Marvel movie. I'll watch it.
I expect a little bit.
I
of
watched the
superhero
original
fighting.
Fantastic Four. Well, it was basically because Jessica Alba was in it.
Hey, how about this? The new
They were terrible.
there's an X-Men coming out, and it's Wolverine's last one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and see, I was hoping
Well,
they could merge them all in like one movie before
you do know that they're killing Wolverine in October.
They've already killed him.
They already did the death of Wolverine then, so he's
Yeah.
officially dead now.
Well,
in
here's the
comics?
thing: you can't.
Oh, man.
It's like
Yeah.
everything. You can't kill. He's going to be dead for half a year, and then somebody's going to find his body, and he's going to just pop up and kill everybody. I mean, that's just how it goes.
And the last movie that we watched a little bit of the trailer for today is Deadpool.
Yes,
That I will.
So-
Okay, out of all, that's the one I'm excited to see. Because, see, I'm not a huge, like, superhero movie.
You're a Ryan
sort of
Reynolds fan,
person.
aren't you?
I am a right. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a Ryan Reynolds fan.
Jeez,
We know you're a Ryan
depends.
Reynolds fan.
Although, it is interesting
man
because he
crush.
already did Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But I think Deadpool kind of fits him. I think he can probably do that role a lot better. And from what I've seen in the trailers, it looks really good.
Did y'all see him at Comic Con?
No.
He even had a little joke about. He's like, "Well, I've already played one superhero movie that ended badly."
Yeah. So
like-
that's the list of my stuff, which we have gone super long about. It's. I just wanted to talk. We haven't had like a real smack talk session in the beginning
Right.
in a while, so I just wanted to
Ryan, you're ugly.
not that kind of smack talk.
Shots fired.
Your beard is patchy.
Oh no, that's the serious one.
Keith, you're white.
I can show you. I can prove it.
I got you as my friend,
Yes, Keith. I just went there. I am white though.
but it's okay. I accept you and love you.
I'll tell you what. We're going to take a small break, and we'll be back and give you some recos, and we're just going to take a small break. We'll be back in a second.
Make sure the quarterly reports are packed inside my briefcase. Kiss the wife, kiss the kids, head out to the rat race. Waving to my neighbors as I'm backing out the driveway. This is my routine, it's how I always start off my day. iPod shuffling my smooth jazz playlist. Order ready at Starbucks because I'm on their A-list. Blue skies everywhere, not a single cloud. And a couple of people getting eaten by a zombie crowd. That's right, we live in a world of zombie apocalypse. Playing hero gets you wet, so I will not put a stop to this. They say that there's a process to stop the zombie nonsense. If I'm honest, I've never been considered an optimist, so I keep my eyes on the path I'm taking and avoid the zombie horde so I don't get overtaken. If you take one step, then drag a foot behind. Understand I won't be giving you a piece of my mind. We walk around so casual and try to act real natural, as if we're stuck in an Norman rock.
We're back. And I did it again.
All right, we're back, guys.
Last one.
You heard that on the last one?
I did.
Yeah, we're back. And that was just a little small break. That was Foreknown with Double Tap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good stuff. If you haven't listened to that album, you should check it out. Humblebeast.com. Check them out.
It's almost a year old.
I've been
Yeah.
waiting for him to come out. He put out one song for the longest time, and I was like,
Yep.
please put out more stuff. Please, please. And he finally did.
So this week, we're going to do we kind of broke our segment up now into 3 different parts tonight, but we're going to do a quick recos, and then we'll take another small break and head into the meat and potato section. But anyways, this week, Justin, what's your reco?
My reco, so I began watching a show the past 2 weeks. Everybody else has already seen it and stuff, but I just kind of started getting into it. Orange is the New Black. And I actually really like it. Bobby's leaving.
gone.
But yeah, I really like it. It's a pretty good storyline so far. And it's very feminist, which of course I like, but yeah, so I know everybody listening is probably knows of it or has already seen it, but I just want to throw that out there. And you can comment whether you think I'm stupid or whether or whatever.
I watched like the first couple episodes, so and I just kind of it drowned it off because I had other shows more important to
I
watch.
saw the first season finale.
Yeah.
That's all I saw. So
Gotcha.
I have no idea. Me and Bridget watched together, and so I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
I mean,
Gotcha.
I think it's interesting. I think the concept is cool, and there's
Yeah.
some things that, like, I don't know, the drama and some of the relationships kind of pulled me in a little bit. Granted, I was in the season finale, but
Right.
I can see it, but I don't have time to watch that.
Right.
Bobby,
No comment.
What's going on here?
We just butted heads accidentally.
Okay, so Keith, what's your reco for the week?
My reco, I'm going to bring us back, gosh, what is it? 60 years, a little over 60 years, to my favorite jazz piano album. And it's a little bit basic as far as jazz piano goes. People are laughing at me. Justin's laughing at me, but I really love jazz piano. This
I do
is
too. Don't worry.
This is my
Jazz
favorite
hands.
player, my favorite jazz player, period, Oscar Peterson. And this is my favorite album of his, and it's a little bit weird because it's kind of basic, but it's Oscar Peterson plays the George Gershwin songbook. And it is fantastic because it's, in my opinion, the best bop piano player of all time playing classic 20s and 30s, like, show tune stuff. So it's got, like, Summertime, it's got, like, It Ain't Necessarily So, things like that, and I just love listening to it. Just get in the car, and I'm just like, oh, I'm at ease now. So nobody else cares, but that's
Awesome.
okay.
No, that's
Listen to it. Hey, go out
No,
and
I'm-
listen to
I'm-
it. You'll probably like it.
I mean, obviously, Keith, me and you played in the jazz band, so I love jazz and blues. And
Yeah.
anyway,
Ron, do you have a reco for the week?
Yeah, I do. I wanted to throw it out for NF. He's the new only rapper so far under Hillsong's wing right now, and I don't know. I've been, like I said, I've been listening to him a lot, enough to the point where I'm just not listening to his songs. I'm listening to his lyrics. And the song I want to recommend was All I Have, because it's so good, and he shows off a little bit, and he shows that it's not his first time, and he's been doing this for a while.
right.
Cool.
I feel it. I do. It's good.
You got any recos for the week?
you know what? I got some boys that's out of Wilmington, Summerlin.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're some good friends of mine, and you know what? I'll reco them.
Cool.
They are a good band, good guys.
They're a very good band. I remember I got their EP, their first EP, like the day it came out, and I think one of the first times I ever met you, Bobby, was at a Summerlin concert in Wilmington.
Did I
It was
meet you?
it was at the church because Ryan was there too.
I think it was one of those times you were like, "Hey, Ryan, we're going to go to a concert," and I did.
Did Summerlin play at a church?
Not yeah. It wasn't like a church. It was like a venue that a church put up.
Venue, yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
See, the world is small, and we all run into each other.
Apparently so. I don't remember any of this. I don't even remember Ryan going around.
Remember, you're 87 years old. That's why.
Apparently. But that's awesome, Justin. I'm glad me and you share some musical interest.
I'm glad
Yeah,
we met
there we
that
go.
one time.
And I think it was did Sent by Ravens also. I
Yes,
think that-
okay.
that-
Studio 421.
Yep.
Yep, okay. All right.
we
I'm
go.
with you.
Oh,
I'm with
I
you.
missed that show.
That was their last, one of their last shows too. They came out.
Man,
Sent by
That was a
Ravens,
while
dude.
ago.
Man, they're
That
so
was good. That was a good show. I
Yeah.
forgot you went with me,
Yeah,
man.
because you were like, "Hey,
Let's go. You would enjoy this.
Because I remember I was at the front and I just look over and I'm like, wait, Ryan? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now. Obviously, I have a very bad memory.
No worries.
Just I don't know why. I
and
don't.
if you hear all the background noise, that's because
I know why.
we're sitting stuff hard on the table. Well, my reco is a little different this week. I'm going to reco a book.
Okay.
One I've been
I thought
reading.
you already recoed.
No,
You can reco twice.
I'm going to do whatever I want.
Well, I mean,
I'm the guy who runs this.
and owns all the equipment."
mic
going-
drop.
Mike.
in the actual reco time, I want to recommend a book. If you're in this realm of trying to understand grace and extending grace and what it looks like to be on the outside and the inside of church, a lot of what we've established here at Forgetting Walls, a book that I've been reading and rereading is Philip Yancey's Vanishing Grace.
Yep.
It's
one.
it's a great book if you haven't read it, and you read. that has to be a part
What are
of
you
the
trying to say,
stipulation.
Keith?
I'm just saying, if you
Why
read
did you look
books-
at me when you said that?
I didn't look at you, Bobby.
Yes, you did.
Drummers
I was-
can't
I
You
was-
looked directly at.
drummers can't
Drummers
read.
can't read.
Hey, do you know what?
Drummers can't read.
You know what they call the guy that hangs around musicians?
The drummer.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I don't know if I told you before, but I was driving behind this Jeep one day, and it had a sticker on the back of it, and it said musician. It was crossed out because it was spelled wrong, and it said musician again. It was spelled wrong again. Or it says I am musician. It was spelled wrong, and it was done 3 times, marked out 3 times, and finally at the bottom says I am a drummer. But that's just a very bad stereotype of drummers. They're very smart people.
Because drummers are unintelligent. That's why it's funny, right?
Yeah, I
Suck the
guess.
fun out of
You know I can. I might be stupid, but I can hit very hard.
Ask his drums.
But anyways, Philip Yancey's Vanishing Grace. It's a good book.
Yancey.
And the reason I said if you read, because a lot of people just don't read. You know, some people just don't read books at all. And, you know.
Can you just ask?
You can get it on audible.com.
Okay. So I don't mean like that. I mean, can you buy it on your phone, Kindle, and all that?
Yeah, you can get it
Okay.
anywhere. It's iTunes, Amazon, anywhere you want. We'll have a link. We'll have at least a link to the book somehow, some way on our podcast section page. And in saying all that, we have spent a lot of time talking about something, but that's not really nothing. And we will be back in a moment with the actual meat and potatoes of the show. We'll be back in a second.
All I ever wanted was somebody to hear me, and all I ever wanted was somebody to feel me. And everybody wanna tell me that I'm out of my head when I'm on the mic, that's fine, but that don't scare me. It's been a long time, but I'm back now. Rap out, welcome to the rap house. Rap out where I live till I pass out. Blackout, everybody keep on wondering if I still rap now. Are you serious? Anybody out there hearing this? I came in the game as a lyricist, and I'ma leave like that, period. You sniff lines, I'll write lines. You've now entered in my mind, and you better get ready, cause you might find I'm from a different place in my kind. It's a little bit different than yours is. Quit snoring, hip-hop isn't dead. It's just been in mourning from the moment I quit recording. Quick record this, listen, I'm warming up and you're misinformed. If you think that I'm slipping up, this ain't sick enough, then I'll skip the chorus. I'm sitting here, ain't nobody heard of me. Yeah, I'ma turn this beat to a murder scene. I live for the world, I live for the king, I live for the king. Focus, wrote this with emotion. It's hard to get a break when the doors ain't open.
And that is a record from tonight. That is NF with All I Have off the Mansions CD. Yeah, good stuff. Good record too, Ryan, as well. So tonight, getting right into meat and potatoes. We actually got some pretty artistic people on the show tonight, all the way across the board, whether it's music and things. Shut up, Keith. But so we have.
We'll probably edit that one out.
Probably. So we do have some people on the show tonight that have artistic abilities.
With an R.
With creative.
I can play the spoons.
Yeah, you can. Well, everybody. I'm not really artistic at all. I don't think. I'm very technical.
You can't play guitar, dude.
Well, I was gonna say,
that's analytically
technical.
Yeah, I'm very technical. I'm not really a musician, so to speak. I can pick up a guitar and look at things and play it, but I'm not very expressive with it. More analytical. I think if I do express anything, it may be just in me talking a whole lot.
That's true.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, if there's my but I am creative in ways. I love going outside and building things and making stuff, but I'm not like that artistically. Forgive me, all you people. I'm not the artsy fartsy type. I'm just not. I'm like, I can't paint. I can't draw. I can't sing at all. And you don't want to hear me. There you go, Keith. Laugh it up.
I've been next to him in order.
It's bad. Anytime I'm driving down the road in my car and you're in it with me, you're getting an experience. But what we want to do tonight is kind of, we always, forgetting walls, bridging the gap, outside, inside, and we wanted to look at art from a perspective looking into the walls and a perspective looking outside the walls. And I think for me, it's based on the quality and craftsmanship of what goes on either side. A lot for me. And whether we're looking at movies or music or art and painting and sculptures or whatever it is, it's funny to see how the differences reflect in today's culture.
Right.
100 years ago, it's a totally different ballgame. But in today's culture, how drastic the difference is, not just in what's being produced, but in the quality that's being produced. Is kind of strange. And I'll validate it with this. When you think about art from hundreds of years ago, you think about the Michelangelos, not even 100 years ago. I mean, even today, the Salvador Dali's, the Van Goghs, the Da Vinci's. You think about all these things, yeah. And you look at a lot of pieces like that were church era pieces, religious era pieces. You thinking the Latin.
They were commissioned by the church.
Yeah, and how beautiful and great these art or this art was. Yeah, you think of the sculptures, the sculpture David, and then you think of You know, the paintings like the Last Supper. I mean, I've been to Paris, I've been in the Louvre, and I've seen that huge ass painting.
Me too.
Of the Last Supper.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
it's,
Last Supper is actually in Florence.
well, there's one on the wall on the backside over there by the Mona Lisa, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's that huge painting. Yeah, that's true. That is one of the Last Supper.
Yeah.
But the famous Last Supper is in
Yeah,
Florence.
well, the one that I'm talking about in Paris is that one that looks.
Which is so much. It's, to me, it was so much more impressive than the Mona Lisa because it's in the same room.
Yeah.
And like you look at the Mona Lisa and it's tiny, but crowds are all around it and stuff. I'm like,
I'm very
and I look
unimpressed,
behind me and
yeah.
there's this huge, like expressive, like so
Yeah.
color saturated painting, and it's like
It's
this
beautiful.
is gorgeous, and no one's looking at it.
Yeah, and it's an amazing picture, and I was very unimpressed with the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, same here.
I walked up and I was like, "That's it."
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, wow, that's it.
Yep.
But the sculptures and all those things, and I think about that, and then I come to present day, and then I think about, and maybe I justify it by saying this. I've been to these conferences where you have these artists, you know, camps and stuff, and they're up on the stage and there's music playing or somebody's doing worship and they're painting this picture, right? And everybody's watching, and you're like, and they're like, ooh, what is he painting? What's he painting? Oh, wow, that's kind of crazy.
It's Jesus.
And then at the end, he flips it upside down, and it's like, oh, it's Jesus.
And you're like, I would have never guessed that one.
Man.
Yeah.
And then you go to another conference, and then all of a sudden they're painting these scenes, and these scenes kind of overlap. And then at the end, it's Jesus.
Right.
And I'm like, can we express art? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Jesus. That's where it's at for me. But can we express art instead of having to trick people in through a painting to see something, you know, outside of the
It doesn't have to be Jesus.
the image of Jesus we think that was that was given to us by those, you know, Renaissance era
Right.
artists. But I think the only time I've seen anything is like when I used to go to YS Youth Pastor Conferences, the National Youth Worker Conference. They'd have an artist there on stage painting during the big show, and they would do some amazing artwork. I mean, just beautiful scenes, art. It's amazing. But sometimes what I see coming from inside the walls is not so great. I mean, some of it's okay, but the
Right.
majority of it is just like, let's throw Jesus on top of it, say Holy Spirit, make the church look really good in what we're doing, and we're going to call that good.
Well, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No.
I was just going to say it stems from back in the early. I mean, we probably can go back to the 1800s, but you know, when art and everything, the church pulled away from that. And I know you
Right.
can make an argument and all that, and go in detail and in depth, but that's why even today there's still somewhat of a stigma about when people do stuff artistically.
Yeah.
Music, art, poetry, they try to keep it around one thing. You know what I mean?
Well, they cap it. They cap
They-
it with the
you're
Jesus
exactly right.
cap. It's like Dan said. Every time someone will go on stage, or 9 times out of 10, when someone go on stage and go to paint, you're like, okay, what is it going to be?
It's Jesus.
Yes, it's going to be Jesus because they put the Jesus cap on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, and it's people feel like they can express themselves beyond that cap because if they do, it's not Jesus.
And
Right,
it's not
and that-
going to be accept. Sorry, man. I didn't mean.
No, you're fine. You're
I
fine.
was just going to say it's not going to be acceptable in that environment, or it's not. Somebody's going to come up in that, especially in a youth event, and be like, "Why did you paint a sculpture of a mountain?" Yeah, I get it, but it's pretty, but it ain't Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly my point that I was going to make. I think you both hit the nail on the head that I think in at least the modern church, and we've kind of made everything fall through this filter of, I mean, don't get me wrong, everything we view should be like through scripture and through, Jesus and all that, because we are Christians, so that's how we see the world. However, we've set almost this limit on art and what, quote, Christian art should be. And it like you said, it's either depictions of Jesus or the cross or whatever, or it's like Thomas Kincaid and it's landscapes everywhere, because it's like, oh, it's God's creation, but it's all very like monotonous and very just sort of almost mass produced in a way, just in order to fit a certain expectation of what, quote, Christian art should be. And that doesn't just apply to paintings and sculptures and stuff. That applies to like music.
Yeah.
Like you listen to contemporary Christian music and it has to fit this mold. It's like the lyrics have to be about this, 4 chords in and out, done.
Well, Caleb won't even play stuff. They have their which I'm not knocking Caleb because they have a guideline for the reason they do it. Plus, their audience, not to mention they don't want. But they check the artist who comes on. It's almost like a background check. You know what I mean? Like you said, they have
and you have to be signed by a certain label.
Exactly.
Right.
It's in detail before you get radio play.
Yeah, and everything just runs through that filter. Mm-hmm. That kind of almost limits the creativity and the ability to fully express what you feel. I feel that even in poetry, like in quote Christian like poetry, a lot of times it'll have that structure where they might talk about battling sin, stuff like that, but always at the end there's like, oh, but Jesus, but redemption at the foot of the cross, and it can get almost predictable in a way. And some of those things are powerful, but a lot of times it can just run over itself and almost become a parody of itself, where it's so predictable and so cookie cutter in a way.
Well, it takes away from. I'm sorry, Dad.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think it takes away from it because I know, like in writing poetry, that's what I do.
Yeah, which me and Ryan are
Yeah.
huge on that.
In beginning, that's what I did. That's what I knew how to do. Okay, well, I talk
same here.
about this, I write about this, and then it ends with Jesus.
Yeah, same here. I
And
did
then
that formula.
I started to feel that actual creativity, that when the Holy Spirit actually filled me, and took over, it was more. And
Right.
That's another one of the reasons I did mention NF is because it's not that cookie cutter rapper. He talks about his life. It's different.
Now, let me, for lack of a better term, play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Because that wasn't meant to be a pun, and it's probably the wrong term because I'm still agreeing with you guys. But at the same time, when it comes to Christianity, you've only got so much you really can do if you're trying to stay within that realm of. And see, that's the problem. I think ultimately, I won't say problem, but that's people. That's the challenge. They try to stay within the realm, and they don't want to venture out. You know what I mean? And I don't mean like venture out into, but they don't talk about personal issues in music, or they don't paint what they want to paint, or do anything like that because they focus on that, which is not a bad thing because obviously with Christianity, you're wanting to try to basically bring God forward, and I can't, man. I'm not good with words.
and spread the gospel through your art.
Good.
And all of
I'm
that.
glad
And
there's somebody smarter than me on this thing.
Well, that's just what's so cool about, I think, our testimonies and stuff like that, at least with poetry. Just the fact that I can say everything that God's done in my life, and not necessarily saying, well, God did this in my life, but just the fact that this is my life, and people near to me understand that and know that it was God, and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so easy that we can use things just to relate.
Yeah, and you would love to find that way to branch out of that box for no, that's actually the term I want to use, not a lack of a better term, and forget walls.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Shout out.
There you go. That worked. Cha-ching. You got something to say, Keith?
Yeah. Speaking of cha-ching, I think
That's where I was going.
Yeah,
That's
main
exactly
reason
where I was going.
that there's such a discrepancy is money. Where's the money at?
Yes.
Like when you take a look at some of those Renaissance masters that we were speaking about, all of those pieces, those great pieces, they were pretty much all commissioned works. Like the sacred pieces were all commissioned by the Catholic Church.
Yes.
So they were getting paid big bucks for those.
Absolutely.
Like, big bucks. And they did freelance work on the side, or they would take commissions from patrons throughout the city or this country that they lived in. So, I mean, a lot of times these guys that are doing these incredibly impressive sacred works were also doing what we would consider today pagan or polytheist works. I mean, they would be doing ancient Roman gods and goddesses,
whatever
or
they
gods
wanted
and
to,
goddesses.
for lack of a better term, whatever struck their fancy.
Well, it was whatever someone wanted to pay them for.
Yeah, it's about the dollar.
And
that's like what's his name, Benjamin Franklin. He was more than just what we think of him as. He was a painter. He was a poet. He was a lot of things. He was also one of the dirtiest people that ever lived.
He was
He's also a huge ladies' man.
Well, I don't know if he was a ladies' man or a rapist. I don't know. But
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Yeah, God knows I'll probably get struck down and called a terrorist for that one.
You're fine.
But you know what I mean? It's funny because, like you said, he did stuff that was commissioned and it was considered, like what he said about, don't tread on me and all that stuff. And I know this isn't talking about Christianity, but, at the same time, he was trying to do something patriotic because of it benefited him. And then at the same time, he was doing stuff in the background that was the worst thing in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see where you're going at that. And I think money translates to modern creativity, or I hate to say that because that's not really what I mean. Modern art in the church. Because even the guys that go out and get paid big bucks for doing massive worship concerts and worship tours, their money pales in comparison to the stuff that is going on in the secular market. I mean, there's big money there, but
I would take our most popular CCM people and put them up, maybe not against the Taylor Swift.
You couldn't put them up with the top tier if you want to talk, because now we're talking about something I can actually deal with money wise. If you wanted to compare them, you can compare them to country music artists. You can compare them to mid-level pop artists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can't take our number one Christian singer and compare it to Beyonce, compare it to Taylor Swift.
No.
The reason being is there's people make money solely that goes to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You take give me one really good Hillsong. Yeah. You know what I mean? How many people are getting paid there? Not to mention they're working for a church, they're doing all this stuff, and not to mention if they're playing for that church, they might not getting paid to play on that album. You know what I mean? They're collecting a salary.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Jake Owen, which is a country singer, he makes a great amount of money. His guys that play for him, they make a salary. They make a good salary. You know what I mean? He don't make that much.
Yeah.
I can Third Day. I've seen what the guys drive. I've seen their houses. Not been inside them, but I've seen their houses. They got nice houses, but you know what I mean. It's not no more than what you can find just up the road here.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, she's got 3 houses.
Yeah.
And a mansion.
And but they're still.
I mean,
they're doing good.
There's definite money in it, but
you're talking $200 million versus $20 million or $15 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's fight over millions.
I mean, I'm not.
Well, you got to look at the major popular artists in secular music nowadays. They aren't just American artists anymore. They're popular all over the world, where most Christian artists are still condensed to 1 or 2 countries.
Most of you're right. Like
most
Chris
of them.
Tomlin, he probably does pretty good.
When I say our top tier artists, I'm saying Chris Tomlin is at the top. I mean, he's
but at the
worldwide.
same time, his music, like Taylor Swift's music's all copyrighted and going to her.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris Tomlin, he's allowing people to play his music for free, which and understandably, But I mean, he's not making half as much.
No. You're right. There's a lot more money that's involved with your top tier pop artists because they're keeping it, like you said, all to themselves. But when I think about, and Chris Tomlin might be the exception to the rule, well,
I mean, you could throw somebody else out that's more, we'll say, selfish. That's not in the church. You know what I mean? But they're still not. They're still giving it out.
No, yeah, and it's for me. It's not like I don't. I mean, CCM music's fine for whoever you are. That's great. It's not my cup of tea every day. I mean, I like it in certain venues, but it's not what I don't hop in the car and turn on K-Love. And it's because that there's a select few artists that come from the CCM world when we're speaking about art and creativity that, okay, that's good, that's
They're
fine.
actually creative and artistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for the most part of it, as you said earlier, the 4 chords and get it done.
Yep.
The happy ending stuff.
Well, that's the music world in general, though. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it is in general, but
money making music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The money making stuff,
and I think that's also another point where a lot of Christian music and a lot of Christian art is taking what they see in the secular world and just making it quote Christian.
Well, I'll put it to you like this: it's an industry, number one.
Oh no, absolutely.
And y'all know that, but I've seen just being in Nashville. Obviously, I have not been in. I didn't make money. I met people and talked to people. The Christian music industry, the Christian art industry, any industry that flows through, they all flow through the same thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's pop or Christian or anything like that. So it's not about making money. It's not about they find a formula and they stick to it. And it's the only difference is it's like going to Walmart and buying the generic brand versus they just slapping a different label on it.
Yeah, and for me, it's not. I mean, you can do what you want. I mean, it's fine. But when we talk about, I think about artists like Propaganda. All right. Yeah. I think about some artists like Propaganda, and I think you know, since we're talking about poetry, the
Yep.
first time I ever saw Prop was at a conference where he was on stage with no music, and he laid out just the I can't even there's no word to describe what he did. But then I heard it put the music, and it elevated it so much
Who are you
more.
talking about?
Propaganda. He's part of Humble Beast.
I thought we were talking about like Christian propaganda, or I'm sorry, I got
He's an
sidetracked.
actual artist.
He's an actual artist.
No, yeah.
yeah.
I'd have to say I like that name.
Yeah,
That's a
he's-
pretty cool name. What's your name? Propaganda.
He's
Listen,
and
I could sway you.
his name is Jason, but
Yeah.
but
Well,
but,
propaganda's a lot better than Jason. We all know Jason.
but yeah, but hearing his stuff and then hearing it put the music and the creativity in it, and you know they give all their stuff away for free. You can buy it, you can go and
Yep.
download it on
Humble
iTunes,
Beast.
but every bit of their music is given away free.
Yep.
Now,
Now, doesn't Macklemore and Ryan Lewis haven't they done something like that? And it's
I don't know.
Well, I don't know much about them. I know I've heard about it. I know Smashing Pumpkins have done that too.
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins did it.
But it's actually, instead of, you would think they've made money off of it, is what I'm trying to go, instead
yeah.
of take up all your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've killed it by allowing free music and allowing you to pay for what you want, whether it's 90 cents or $90.
Well, Humble Beast, that whole group of people, Beautiful Eulogy, which is Braille and Odd Thomas, and you got Eshon Burgundy and Jackie Hill Perry and Foreknown, all these guys, the song we heard earlier, Foreknown from Humble Beast, everything that they've ever done, every artist on that label, you can go to their site and download it for free.
Yeah.
Really?
There is no catch, there is no, hey, donate, you know, if you want to donate, you can, but every bit of it's free.
Yep.
And you can buy it on iTunes
Now,
if you want.
are they doing this for a living, or
Sort of.
or is this, you know, for, I guess, for what you're trying to get to? This is, they're making music for the art of passion.
Yeah,
for the passion of making music and art.
Do they tour?
Yeah, they do
Yes,
tour.
they tour a lot.
Are they like paid tours? Do they?
Yeah.
Well, that's where their money.
Oh
is
no, it
anyway.
is. It is.
Money's not in touring, but that's a story for
Merchandise a little bit. I think when I first met
Merchandise
Prop was
yeah.
merchandise. A lot of his stuff came from merchandise. He does get paid, like, you know, if he goes to a conference, they pay him to go to the conference. And I
You
know
can make
they're-
a living, but
you can make a living.
But I can tell you from experience, from just what we do in our limited, and a lot of people that we know that do it professionally and live on the road. You're going to make most of your money from night to night, even if you don't charge an admission.
Yeah.
Even if you do what we call a love offering or something like
Yeah.
that, where you just take donations, basically.
Yeah.
You're going to make a lot more money than that than you will on actual music sales.
Oh no, yeah, you're not. Most people, and Bobby probably chime in on this as well. Most people aren't making money unless you're like a really big artist off your records.
Oh, no.
Because you're losing money probably in that
You're,
venue.
like with what we do, we will lose money probably for the first year after we put out a new album.
My cousin wrote a song. I'm not gonna. He's a songwriter in Nashville. He's played, and I'm not telling you this to talk him
You're
up for
fine.
doing it. But he wrote a song. It hit #1 on the country chart. He actually wrote a few. Let me put it to you like this: after everybody cuts that song,
Yeah.
let's say he makes $1 off that song. Okay,
Yeah.
he doesn't make $1. He makes 13 cents.
Yep.
That tells you how much.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I know we're way off in left field, but
Well, I mean, we're bouncing around, but I mean,
Yeah.
It's relevant. It's
Yeah.
relevant
no, it
to the
is.
topic.
But you know, you think about all art in general when you speak of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are you doing it for? If you're doing it for the money, and that's what I feel about, and I can say that about the secular scene.
Yeah.
Because if you're a secular musician,
You're not doing it for the music. Very rarely.
some people do, but most people who go into the music
It
business,
evolves. I think it evolves. I think it starts in, and you're like doing it for the music. That's why you started, and I think it.
most
turns
people I
into-
know
It also
want to be a rock
depends on-
star.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, I
yeah.
see that.
They want to be a rock star.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Now you got some. Okay, in a band, you're always going to have that one guy that's in it for the music.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the other three are wanting to be famous.
Yeah, but see, I think that plays for
And then you got
me.
the bass player.
I don't know, Justin. I think we've talked about it before, and Keith, we've definitely talked about it before. In the art of Christian music,
Yeah.
everybody's like, "This is my ministry. This is my ministry."
True.
And,
Right.
And I'm like, well, is it really your ministry, or is it a way for you to make a living? And I'm not saying you can't make a living off your ministry,
Ministry,
but
i.e., work.
yeah,
This is
exactly.
my job.
Yeah, this is what I do
want
for a
to do,
living.
yeah.
And
Well, I think I'm trying to think when someone says something like that, or I think about go back to the only way I can relate is when I write. The only way something can really be your ministry, difference between your job, is if it's worship.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to put it. That's
Yeah.
a great.
I mean,
yeah.
if you feel it, you know, and if it's your worship and it's you get caught up in it and you lose yourself and you don't complain about it, I think. Well,
you can complain about
it's not perfect.
your ministry.
It's not perfect. I'm not trying to make it sound like everything you do
Paul
in ministry.
did. Paul complained about. Jesus complained about
Yeah.
his ministry. I mean, everybody complains. Ministry
Not
is
that it's easy.
no.
Yeah, but
But
I think that's what the difference is, or like that's the only way I can see the difference.
well, if you got to be honest about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of I will use the K-Love spectrum of things.
Okay.
Because it's the easiest place to go. I know not a lot of people that listens to the show will understand K-Love, and if they don't, it's fine. But it's a place where people who are signed to a label, who are getting paid, present their music. You can't hear indie worship bands. You can't hear little church bands who've got good music. I mean,
They're getting out there now, but
Yeah.
they're still. It's still.
but it's not through a mainstream format. You know, so for me, I'm not saying all Christian music is bad. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has their own taste. I know some
Right.
people who think that K-Love music is the best Christian music that you can get.
Right,
That's
to each
fine.
their own.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just thinking that let's not just pretend that it's good because it's got Jesus in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just because somebody sings about Jesus doesn't make it good art.
Oh, yeah.
Don't fake it for
Thank
your
you.
religion.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is a Christian song, so I have to support it.
Exactly.
You do have to acknowledge what he's doing in a sense of he's singing about God. You know, it's kind of like you see a guy preaching out there. You might not necessarily agree with everything he says, but you know, as long as he's preaching what he's supposed to be preaching, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? You still are like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
And I'll use movies as an example too.
Oh, yeah.
This is my favorite one because see, with music,
okay.
Your mic
you can.
loves me.
You,
It keeps attacking me.
it's fine.
I'm sorry.
With music, there's a certain level of that you can make really good music with Jesus in it. But from our experience, our movies haven't been as good.
So terrible.
They're very
So-
few. Very few.
And then there was a Nicolas Cage movie, and he just
that was-
ruined it for every Christian movie.
That was the worst. And we won't even talk about that.
Well, it's funny because if you probably watch it, the other actors were probably okay, and then there was Nicolas Cage.
I was going to say that, and I'll use this for an example when we talk about Jesus and being in it and Christians having to support it. I remember when Courageous, the movie, came out, okay, and it was coming to the theaters, and they made, they got this special showing down at the local cinema, and the whole church goes. I don't. Actually, I had just got back from a trip or something, and me and my wife and one of my daughters, we went and seen, because at that time my daughter was young and she liked the Taylor Lautner thing, and there was a Taylor Lautner movie out, so we went and saw it.
That's a good one.
It-
What was it?
Abduction, I think.
That was a good
It was actually a good movie.
Yeah.
And we was coming out of the movie
Is he still
theater.
alive?
Yeah, we were coming out of the movie theater.
I thought a werewolf ate him.
Yeah, that was a vampire. But
Don't ruin it. I haven't seen that movie yet.
And then Kristen Stewart comes out, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, we watched 4 movies for you to be gay."
Wait, what?
no, it's
Okay.
We're just playing. We're just
I
playing.
seriously haven't seen this.
She's actually gay though in real life. Though, is that kind of?
Oh, okay.
Well, I think she's
Never mind.
Anyway, we ain't gonna talk about
Yeah,
Kristen Stewart's
okay.
love life.
So I come out of the movie theater, and then a bunch of people I see from the church comes out of the movie theater, and they're like, "So, what did you think of the movie?" And I'm like, "Oh, it was pretty good. I laughed I laughed all the way through it because I was making Twilight references through the whole movie because it's Taylor Lautner. He pulls off his shirt, and I look at Kim, and I was like, "Is he going to change now?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just making stupid little punny jokes, and they're like, "Oh, I cried. I had so many tears." And I'm like, I didn't have, and
It took you for a second to realize.
not me. I knew what they were saying. I was like, they didn't realize what I was saying because they thought I went and saw the churchy movie too. And I'm like, and they're like, I was like, all I did was laugh through the whole movie. He's like, you laughed through the whole movie? I'm like,
Oh, no.
yeah, I did. I absolutely did laugh through the whole movie. And
when Taylor Lautner took his shirt off. Yes.
And I was thinking, I was like, but I didn't see that movie. And they're like, oh, you didn't see? I was like, no, I saw Abduction. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's it. But it was the fact that because everybody's going to see the Jesus movie. Right. Don't get me wrong. I did watch Courageous, and there are some very good parts in that movie. I love the dude in the backseat of the cop car playing the Mexican mafia gangster dude. That was freaking hilarious. But but
Not humps.
I'm Snake King. That was pretty funny. But
It's always that one.
But it's just that stereotype, like, oh, it's a movie and it's Christian, so you must support it. I have seen some very bad stuff. And people have been very mad at me because I wouldn't go support it in the theaters. And I'm like, I don't want to. Why do I have to support it just because it says, it's a faith-based movie? I mean, because if you make better movies, people will watch them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I was going to just say, like, even in the Christian movie realm, like I said earlier, I think a lot of it has to do with they take what they see in popular culture and try to emulate that, but put it under a Christian umbrella. For example, I don't know, like, the studio who produces a lot of those movies that are, faith-based, like God's Not Dead and all those movies, they're called like Pure Flix. And if you go to their website and like it's an actual like subscription thing where you can like they have a bunch of movies uploaded for like family-friendly faith-based films.
Yeah.
And it is literally Netflix. Like the format of the website, how it's run, how you navigate through it is literally the same as Netflix, but it's just Pure Flix and it's just Christian stuff.
And you can't come up with your own stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just, it's obviously a ripoff, Netflix, pure. It's like,
it was like YouTube and then GodTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I forgot
And it's
about
frustrating.
GodTube.
Well, I think everything comes down to when they're making Christianity, when they're making Christian movies, it comes down to the amount of money that people throw in. Like, if you threw in $200 million into a movie that was a Christian movie, like, it's kind of over under, but look at the Passion of the Christ, and you know what I mean. You look back to
movie.
oh man,
That's actually a good one.
I love the
movie.
Passion of the Christ.
Beautiful movie.
Very good.
Because he threw so much money into it.
But see, I think money is one thing. I can deal with a very low budget CGI type of movie. I can deal with that. But if you're acting, is like.
But I mean, if your movie budget is $500,000. And half of it's going to, or 3/4 of it's going to lighting and location, all that, because you're trying to get that. Then, who are we going to hire for the actors? Keith?
Well, but we're,
I'll do it.
But we're Christian-based movies. We should be doing
I would
it.
watch that.
We should be doing it for the love of Jesus, right?
And you know what? Some people, and I know you're being funny, but some people do that, and they but at the same time, those are the same people that don't act. They can't act.
I will admit one thing, though. The movies are getting a little bit better.
They are.
Not much.
Well, people are sitting around like we are. I mean, obviously they're not to the degree, but people are like, Nicolas Cage is in a Christian movie and he sucks. We've got to do something.
Let's just be real. On Rotten Tomatoes, Left Behind with Nicolas Cage got 2%.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the movie's not that bad until you see Nicolas Cage and you're like, oh my god, shoot me.
Although
That is literally the
even
lowest I've
worse,
seen.
I was waiting for John Travolta to pop out and there'd be another face-off.
although even worse, the Kurt Cameron the Christmas movie that he came out with is a 0%.
Is a 0%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
Kurt Cameron, the last
But
thing.
see, these are the things I'm talking about. Like, and I know this may not be, the best example, but and bear with the audio. But this is an example of like when people are, they just don't think about what they're doing when they're doing music, or art. They just do whatever they want.
My soul will rest in your embrace.
Wait for it. It's not her singing. She's not bad.
I am yours.
But maybe better. But wait for it.
Sounds like me on Sunday morning.
I was going to say, it's like Bobby out of control. And his mom looks over and goes, yeah, I'll kill you.
The difference is I could pull that off because I am just that awesome. I could.
It's
but
just, it's an epic just ball of wow, because he's playing an electric drum set, and you can tell he is,
Yeah.
because you can hear the way the bass drum response is.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like he's
Are we
obviously
really,
not playing to a click
ripping
track.
this one apart?
Yes.
It's just a
Because
bad
it's
drummer.
bad.
Just playing drums. He's playing
Dude,
a
he's
click
being
track,
moved
and
by the
he's
Holy Spirit. You don't stop that.
No, there's just no. You can't rip this apart in analytics. It's just a really freaking bad drummer that you put up there.
Yeah.
But there's
You know what I mean?
reasons he's bad.
No, there's not. It's because he sucks, and they don't have nobody else.
Well, and what I want to what I want to add to this is that where there is good intentions doesn't mean there's good art.
Well, that's what I want to hit on. What Bobby said is the fact that just because it's for Christ doesn't mean everybody has to stand up like, oh, it's for Jesus. So that means I can act. I can act.
Exactly.
I can play drums. Okay, go up there and go play drums.
Well, I guarantee you, when he sat down, I was like, "Can you play drums?" He's like, "Yeah, I can play drums."
Yeah, exactly. With a
And
smile
it was
on
like-
his face.
Here's where it gets real though, because
If you rip this drummer apart again,
no, it's not. He just sucked. Okay,
Okay. Well, the bass drum was technically not responding
But
correctly.
here's where it gets
Yeah, it was
real,
bad.
and this is something that I've seen many times, and I still don't know how I feel about it.
Are you picking on me again?
Because just about every church you can think of, you think it'd be okay if I sang a special,
Yep.
Oh my gosh, yes. You're right.
and it's like,
Just out of nowhere, not like pop up and want to practice it.
Well-
it's like on Sunday. Hey,
Well,
can
yeah,
y'all
but-
sing that song? You know, the one that y'all haven't sang in 25 years.
no, that's not what I'm getting
No,
at.
no,
I'm
no, no.
saying
He's
like
talking about-
this random girl or dude will be like, I want to sing a special,
Oh,
and they
I know
are
what you're talking about.
not good.
Yeah, and then you're forced to think or to react that they are good.
Yeah, because
And
it's
that
like,
was-
what do you
I
do?
am not
It's-
that one.
You have to support them, right? I mean, that's the thing.
You know what? I'll tell you this on subject. We've had people do that at our church, and 90% of the time, it don't happen too often. And when they do, most of them are good. Some of them that aren't bad. And I will say this: my mom will make them sing before and she will deter them if they're not. She'll be like, "Yeah,
Yeah, but see, I can see your mom doing that.
Yeah.
and I know your mom would do that.
Yeah.
But see, Justin, y'all can see if you can agree with me on this. That's why we have all the outtakes from American Idol, because people won't tell people they can't sing.
Yeah, exactly." You know,
My mama said I could sing. I sang in church all my life.
I'm sure
they lied
you
to
do.
you.
That's because they didn't have nobody else. Where did you go to church? You're back. The single wide.
Shut. Hashtag stay out of my single wide.
But that's real talk, though, because that's something that happens probably every week.
Yeah.
Every Sunday at some church or the other. And it's kind of a problem. Like, really, when
No,
you
it
think
is.
about it, it's because it's just bad and
It's bad
nobody
art.
likes it.
It's bad art, and
But
they
you
put
don't
up with it
want
to be nice.
Yeah, but you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
It's not
can't
just
you?
bad art, but it takes people out of, like, let's say your church is actually interested. You know, you got people that are interested in worship and all that,
Right.
And you got this person like, I want to sing, and I know some probably practice and some probably
They-
just pop them
yeah.
up. It takes people out of that realm.
It does.
Puts a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, it really does. And then you're like, well, okay.
Well, just from sitting in the pews, you
Yeah.
hear stuff like that. Like keep them.
I mean, you're going to deal with that in churches, no matter where you go. But if it's something that pops up and you glad to keep popping on, then people are like, you know what,
Well-
this is a sideshow.
And
Yeah.
we think, but when you look in from the outside and you look what's being produced as far as an artistic format, you know, it's why we get certain stereotypes. We get
Right.
certain, you know, look at what Christians produce in movies. Look what they produce in music. Now, I will admit this: our music has come a long way from early Petra, and
That is true.
So
Hey, say what you want about
what do you
Petra,
have
though.
against Petra?
let me tell you something.
Petra sucks.
That was
Petra threw Bibles at people
Look,
on stage.
If that
No,
was
no, that's Striper.
yeah.
Petra and Striper are the same thing to me. They're
But see-
old, crappy rock bands.
Well, there's a new Striper out, and it's not too bad.
Striper is really good. I don't care what anybody
Yeah.
says. The Striper actually has a pretty good amount of respect in the
Next
the
time
hair
on
metal
Zelda
scene.
the
2
hair
is
metal
okay.
scene. They
Yeah.
really do.
I would admit, Striper's not too awful
But
bad
see,
when it comes to the hair
you
metal
would have
scene.
to like hair metal.
Well, I grew up in hair metal.
I know. I'm saying I don't. I just
Yeah.
can't like.
I know.
Anyway,
I'm the
But-
same, so don't worry.
But I'm saying, you know, there was some pretty bad stuff early on
Mm-hmm.
in quote unquote Christian world.
there still
Well,
is.
people started telling them they sucked.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Someone was like, "That's not that good," and so people had to get better. People
Yeah.
had to start actually playing more and not just
Well,
going.
you
on
think
stage.
about And,
Look what it metamorphed to. It went from bad rock and roll, bad Christian this, to people not wanting to claim they were Christian just so they can get because they didn't want to be associated with Christianity because Christianity had a bad.
They did. There was a bad taste in the world's mouth for art, and it's not. And let me just say this: it's not just music and movies. I mean, it can be across the board. Oh, you're a Christian artist. Well, okay, we don't need to see your stuff. We don't need to hear what you got because it's associated with bad stuff, and I know a lot of people will disagree with what we're saying, but it's the truth.
Well, I mean, you can also look at it. I know we're talking about art, and this is not technically art. But look at shows like The Voice or American Idol. Mm-hmm. There are some people that will play the God card.
Exactly.
To try to get that vote, but they don't realize, and I won't say they don't realize because they're doing it for a reason. But it turns off another side. You know what I mean? And people are like, well, he's Christian. I don't want to vote for him. He's probably a gay hater. And you're like, you don't even know. That dude might have...
There's a lot of... There's a stigma that goes...
But for the majority of Americans, that's going to bump him up.
Yeah, no,
that's what I'm saying. You're right, but I'm saying he's going to. They're doing it for a reason, and you're right. Somebody's telling him, but I'm saying they're playing the card for a specific reason.
I think you'd be surprised though. It depends on how much you play it.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're Scotty McCreery and you're singing mainstream country, and then you throw in a hymn, everybody's going to love you for it.
Exactly.
But if you want to sing Christian songs every single week, they're going to be like, no, you need to stop.
No, exactly.
That's a little too much Christian.
Yeah. Well, but again, I'm not trying to downplay the fact that there are very creative people in the world of Christianity. Very creative people. We've seen them. We know them.
Sitting right next to one.
Yeah, we listen to them.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
But the fact is that I think for us inside the walls, the people who are, well, I can't say that anymore about myself, but the people who are in the church, inside those walls, they need to realize you don't have to accept everything of art that comes through, because if it's not good, it's just not good. I think
you have to be willing to say no.
I think there's a place in the Bible that says don't lie.
True story.
And I think we lie to people, and it's okay to tell somebody and be honest. You can be loving about it, but be honest, because I think what it sets them up for, and I know this is really off topic, but what it sets them up for is a huge failure that they won't be able to accept.
And then they run. They fall, they backslide. That's a whole other topic for another day. But you're right. It puts them in a situation where they're just like, you know what, I give up on Christianity.
And if you can take we'll use Lecrae as an example. Lecrae's music has evolved over the years.
Yes, it has.
Where he started, I know the early days. Where it was the Jesus music and stuff like that. It was still good stuff. Technically, he had stuff put together.
Here's something. I hate to interrupt you, but before I can forget, here's a classic example of what we're talking about. Somebody that was obviously, she's a phenomenal singer. Mm-hmm. She started off in the Christian world, but because they were told that she had to tone down and do some other stuff, I forget exactly what, but it was stupid reasons. Katy Perry. She started off in that scene, in the Christian scene, and they pushed her away, and so now she's done pretty well for herself. Yeah.
Right, and it's also, that's an interesting point, and I will let you finish, Keith, what you were originally saying.
Y'all go ahead.
But you see a lot of people, that's the story of a lot of really popular pop artists. They started singing in church, and they started in that.
And somebody steered them away because...
Well, not necessarily. Yeah. I think that a lot of times the church is perceived as like a starting place, or a place where it's almost like a platform to get to another place, because it's almost like the church accepts not as good art. Yeah. And then so you can get away with being not as great in church until you work your way up through the I guess the rungs of the ladder.
Yeah.
And get to, and then you leave the church scene and you actually do, quote, real music,
Well, I was going to say, in response to both of those, it depends on who you ask how Katy Perry came out.
Well, I mean, what he's saying is that it's not against what I'm saying. They're literally it's like a two-way door. You got those that do that, and you got those that do what I said. They get turned away.
Well, and like Justin's saying, I've seen plenty of bands. I'm a Christian band. We started in the youth group, and we're a band, and we're using this because everybody's going. If you are a person who plays in a church, you have an automatic audience.
Yeah.
Because everybody shows up to church.
Yeah.
And then you have people like whatever story Katy Perry here. I've heard two different stories depending on if you're a Christian or non-Christian.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's two different stories. There's that story, and then there's
She sold her soul to the devil.
which I wouldn't say.
She was down there. She went down to a crossroads demon and sold her soul.
Was he playing the violin?
Yeah,
She's still hot.
I'm not a big fan. Sorry.
I'm not.
She looks like my wife.
I was wondering when you were going to try to rectify what you just said.
If she's listened this far into it, my wife is already angry anyway.
Okay, so what I was saying earlier was about Lecrae, like how his music has evolved and started. I mean, it was rudimentary. He was getting started. He was coming out. You know, the record label got kicked off, and it was very gospel centric. It was very Jesus centric. But then you notice him that his music really started crossing over into mainstream airwaves. It started crossing over into mainstream artists.
Yep.
And so therefore everything that he started as, you know, everybody started picking up on, hold on a second, who's this guy Lecrae? And he's down with Jermaine Dupri, and he's, got Big Crit on his album. So he's moving into the realm of hip hop that's mainstream. And
Because he's good.
no, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's because of his level of talent
People
and his
can-
artistry.
But also, even him
That-
being good, it seems like he established a bit of foundation with the church first. You know
Oh,
what
yeah,
I'm saying?
exactly.
Like what we're saying, he did this Jesus music. He let
Yeah.
him know, hey, this is me. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
Also in that scene, hip hop and all that, and, it all comes back to gospel.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Because of the cultural and the society. So yeah, he's able to kind of work his way in because
Oh, yeah,
well, I
exactly.
won't say work his way in. It just kind of falls in because he's automatically accepted because there's a bridge there.
You couldn't do that in the metal scene
You
and
could
be a
not.
respected
No.
metal artist.
No.
I think your hardcore metalheads who aren't
Oh
Christians
yeah, I would agree with you. I would agree
will
with you. on that.
never allow Jesus. If you speak about
Because
Jesus,
their cultures are different.
Exactly.
Their cultures are extremely
different. And that's what I'm saying. But you take somebody like Lecrae, who now has been on Jimmy Fallon and has done. I mean, he is taking his art to a level that he can, get the gospel into people's ears in ways that it's not being done in
Based
other
on his
places.
talent.
Because he's good. He's got good art.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what we have to tell people. You got good art, go do it. If you got bad art, stop doing it.
Yep. Find where your place is.
Or keep doing it till you get better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
don't deter yourself.
yeah.
Right.
God's not against practice.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. A lot of people just hop up on stage and go, "Okay, I can play my 4 chords, and I've got somebody who's got a pretty decent voice, but that's about as good as it gets." They never get better, and I can say that because there was for a long time I can play 4 chords, and I was helping out, in my youth playing, and then I would help out at another place playing, and I was like, man, but I can never get, I've got to practice more to get to a place, and then finally you get to a place, and he's like, you realize I still have bad art, so I shouldn't do this.
Well, see, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh well.
It's okay.
Well, that's the thing with music in church services is a lot of people, especially with modern worship culture, they think it has to all be spontaneous, but it really doesn't. It's
glad you
it's
said
not necessarily supposed to be spontaneous. There is a spontaneity about it, and a little bit of spontaneity in it, but that's not necessarily worship. Spontaneity does not equal worship.
God makes plans.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think spending time dedicating yourself to learning it and perfecting it is every bit as much worship as anything done spontaneously
Yeah.
on stage.
I've been to church services and places, and I'm talking about church services that are pretty freaking huge.
Yeah.
And played with people on stage. And I distinctly remember one instance, this musician telling me that this person didn't know how to play music. The Lord taught them how to play. And I've heard it, and I've heard it 2 or 3 times, and that's how they learned to play. And eventually this person realized, okay, I'm bad at this, I need to practice. But that was what, and they were just like, one day was just touching the key, and I was just playing, and that's Jesus just gave it to me. I'm like, what?
Look, I know
I'm just saying,
there's talent. There's people who have
Michael Jordan didn't just grab a basketball and was just like,
Look, there are people out there who have natural God-given ability talents. Like if you go on YouTube and see that little kid, Jonah Rocks, he can just listen to drums and play them, and I'm like, that's freaking amazing. That's just raw talent.
I had that talent.
Yeah, me and you both. But then there's people who practice, who have talent, but they've built that.
You've got to,
Bobby.
It's just got to be earned.
Yeah, and you get to that level where all you've done is practice to a point, but you still are striving for the same thing. Whether you have just raw talent or you work at that, you're striving for good art. And we can't negate that just because the church says, we just want you to sing about Jesus and do it about Jesus, which that's fine, but if you let them express themselves beyond just Jesus, things get so much better.
I would agree. I would agree completely.
Right, because the gospel and the message of Christianity is encapsulating to all of the human experience. So
Exactly.
That's what I think that we as Christians, like, we should be honest. First of all, honest about our art.
Yeah.
Not trying to wrap it up in a pretty little bow and be like, yeah, you have all this darkness and that, but then Jesus makes everything all better. Which I'm not saying that's wrong, but
I don't
it's
think
not
it
always
is.
honest.
That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. Because things, if we're honest, like, there are times things still suck, and I think if we're honest about our experience and about like who we are and our struggles and not always have it wrapped up in a pretty little bow in our art,
you can reach people.
Right. I think that would speak so much more than be like, yeah, this sucks, that sucks, but Jesus, so everything's okay. If you're just like, yeah, this sucks, and just leave it at that. Like,
I think that you can take almost any song and find the object in that song differently. Like, I remember I was watching this black pastor, man. He was killing it. He's Motown favorite. He was singing Motown songs. He's like, if you take the object of these songs and change them to be focused on God, all the meaning of these songs change. And he was just singing all these old Motown songs, all these R&B songs. And you think about that, and I think about songs like what's that little girl that Grace girl or Jamie
Grace?
Okay, yeah, that girl. If you listen to her songs and you don't take them into context of her being a Christian, you would think she's talking about a boy sometimes.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
But it's just.
Well, I mean, look at the Blake Shelton song that he came out with a few years ago. You know what I mean? God gave me you? Or there was another song. Basically, they could play it on
all the stations.
Yeah, just because.
And that's my thing. It's like you can have good art, and it doesn't have to say Jesus, 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 Jesus in it, and it still relate to
and
your
have a
faith.
message.
Yeah, exactly, and to still carry the gospel over. But I think as a consensus, we're saying if you expand your horizon outside of this little box, and I think your art gets much, much better, because it's nothing like going into like a little downplayed Bible study session that we used to have and hearing a little Foo Fighters being played acoustically.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff. I mean, and
What are you trying to say?
You know what I'm saying?
I know what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. That's just good stuff, and it doesn't take away from the fact that we're still here for God. It's just art's good in certain formats, and it's just what we want to hear. It's not just because, oh wow, listen to her play the piano and she sings, Fly Me Over Yonder somewhere, and
well, you notice, like, I
it's
mean,
bad,
and you might like this guy or not like this guy. I'm just going to throw him out there. He's not that great, but I enjoy him, and the reason I'm using him just for an example, Jake Hamilton. He's different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And more hard rock. I mean, and most people listen to him like, oh, he sounds like Creed. That's what my wife says. My wife is not that bad of a person, I promise you guys. I love her to death. But you take that, he was allowed in a certain setting to be himself, and you know what? He's gained an audience, and he's created his own art. And see, if the church would, I wouldn't say the church would allow that, but more expression and freedom, we don't know what could come out of it. We don't,
I agree.
The Christian, just music scene alone could be explosive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think of people like John Mark McMillan.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Josh Garrels.
That is a classic version of a lyricist if I've ever heard one.
I mean,
by the way, John Mark McMillan is coming to Boone.
Oh,
and
sick.
During a conference for us, so I want to plug that.
Yeah,
with my church. So,
but I mean, but that's just. I mean, you think about guys like that who are different and or girls that are different and they're outside the box and their art is good. Now, not everybody likes their art, but their art is still good. It can be appreciated. You know, oh, their voice is not exactly what I like. Well, that's fine, but listen to what they're doing. Listen
but
how
while
they
on the board, they know that they're good vocalists or they're
Yeah.
good lyricists.
Yeah,
It's like, no
exactly.
matter, well, I like rock, I like country. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you know,
It's
exactly.
like, this guy has a talent. You know what? Take the chains off and let's see what he does. Or
Yeah,
she does.
exactly.
Yeah.
I always said like, somebody I've always liked was Misty Edwards, and then this last CD she just put out was like not a worship CD, and it was like, whoa, that's good.
Well, I think these things come from, and I just wanted to hit on. I know we were talking about practice and
Yeah.
things like that, and worship bands, and I think the times when worship comes to a worship band the most is in practice.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And if you don't feel it the most, then I don't know if you're doing
I'd
it for
agree.
the right reason.
I'd agree completely.
Because then
Right.
we're playing How He Loves. Why did How He Loves turn into what were we doing yesterday? What was it? It was a couple of days ago. We were playing a Taylor Swift song. It turned into Blank Space.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, how did that happen? But it did, and we had fun, and it didn't matter.
yeah,
Right.
And okay, you're a Taylor Swift fan, but it didn't matter, and it turned into like Fellowship and stuff like that, and then
I'm
went
sorry.
back to
I
it.
was zoned out when you said Taylor Swift.
It's okay. It's okay.
that's
But
all right.
I mean, I just think that stuff's important. And I, like Dad said, Misty Edwards. I mean, she probably came to that stuff through practice and just being able to be free. And she was like, I don't have to have. That
I think we talk about getting rid of the walls, trying to bridge the gap and those things. It's just
Forget those walls.
forgetting the walls.
just forget them.
They're
But it's
gone.
just you got to be able to step outside the box in every realm that you're in. I mean, you think about all the people that sit in a church, right? And whether you're looking from the outside in or you're on the inside looking out, every one of those people sitting in that church, besides the people who are like working at the church, have a different job that's in the secular world. Mm-hmm. And they are allowed to express themselves in every, they don't tell, okay, businessman, we only want you to do Jesus business. Okay, accountant, only Jesus accounting. You can only do accounting for the church. Okay, mechanic, only be a Christian mechanic. You can't express yourself outside.
Yeah.
It starts to get a little stupid when you think about it. And when you tell somebody who's a musician, I remember, only if, have you ever, I know it was on a Beautiful Eulogy song, but it's like we don't need more better rappers. We need more gospel-centered churches. And I know that was the line in it, but it was basically like if we could get that person to be a Christian. What if Eminem was a Christian in the rap he's doing and the influence he would have, or this, that, and the other? I'm like, why does it have to be like that?
It don't have to be like that. You can find somebody that's better or just as talented in that world and allow them. And if you cultivate them and teach them and nourish them like anything, you nourish good art.
Lack of discipleship. That's what that
But my thing is why do we have to keep it inside the box? Why can't we let people express art in whatever form they want?
Well,
And I understand we don't want them out there. Well, I don't. Maybe I'm the wrong person to say this, but I know we don't want them out there rapping about we love the devil and things like that. If you're a Christian, but
Right.
Why are you the wrong person to say that?
I don't know. It's just
Are you rapping about?
I don't
Are you
wanna-
moving to Detroit anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm going to Detroit this week. I've got to go see my statue. No,
Oh, geez.
I'm going to get
Pay
stoned.
respects.
Yeah, whatever. But I don't want to put people inside boxes and make them do things they don't want to do because you're being coined as you're a Christian and you can't do anything but this right here. And that restraint, that puts restraints on you. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. I know a lot of people don't want to hear saying, well, you have to do it this way because we're Christians and you can't do it that way because that's the world's way. You know what? That seems a little weird to me because up until the point of, I don't know how many years ago, that wasn't even a concept for us.
Well, here's an interesting. It's related to it. I'll share. It's not really a testimony, or really anything of that sort. Me, music wise, I've played drums in the church. I've played drums, and it's funny because the certain music I like, I've always been told go out and do it, go try to pursue it. But it's funny because what I wanted to pursue, like to play music and to be something, I was always told, well, why don't you go play country music? And I was like, I don't want to play country music. Or why don't you, like I wanted to play rock or but it never could be cultivated in the church. I can never do what I wanted to do in a Christian scene. Or you can play some country music, or do a little bit. It's got to be, but no, let me do what I want to do.
Exactly.
In the atmosphere I want to do it in.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if
Obviously
we really
that never happened.
Yeah, I don't know if we really talked about anything at all, but And Justin's like, I didn't really talk at all.
I did. I think I made some good points.
Yeah, you did. You
Justin,
made a
if
great
it's if it makes you feel better,
before we
I won't
get
be here for like
silly-
6 months. So
Before we get silly, I just think, I mean, I know we've all talked about it separately together, whatever. Just the church needs to stop chasing the culture.
point. No, I agree with that.
I mean, it's just constant, and it goes into the fact that like we try to, we've talked about putting the Jesus cap on things like that, but it's just, it's too much of that.
Well, I mean, I understand that the church used to set the standard for the culture.
Yeah.
But now the culture sets the standard for the church.
Yeah.
And look, if you want to sound like somebody, hey, that's fine. Imitate the art that you want to imitate.
Yeah, I know inspiration, but copying is a
Yeah,
different
but
thing.
and I understand. If
there's a line.
Well,
There's a line
there
with
is.
all
Well,
of
I got
this.
that from like Justin was talking about.
Yeah.
What did you call it? Godflix? What was it?
Pure flicks.
Flicks.
Yeah.
Netflix and
Well, yeah, no,
GodTube and
yeah,
stuff like
I think-
that. You're
I
like,
think-
really,
if it's still got to be your own art,
Yeah.
it's got to be yours. It can't be somebody else's.
it's got to be
Which
actually creative.
it kind of comes back to the
Right.
whole fact it's got to be your faith, or it's not your faith at all.
Right.
It's still somebody else's.
Right.
It doesn't matter what faith you live in. If it's not yours, it's not yours. And I think the same goes with art. But I'll just say this. I'll make my last point and let y'all finish up, too, before we head out into the last time of the evening. But if you take anything from this tonight, just take this. Don't force somebody to do something in the world of church just because you think it's the only way they can do it. Let people express themselves, because once they express themselves, they learn who they are, and they can learn what they believe, and they can flourish into the person they need to be in Christ, or honestly not in Christ. It's got to be their choice. And if you're pigeonholing them in a box, they'll never learn what good art is and what kind of good art they can make.
Yeah, don't force a box just because that's all you know or something like that. You know, they're terrible. Boxes are terrible.
Forget walls.
I need boxes for
Old
packing.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Packing peanuts.
Are y'all packing and moving?
We'll talk about that later.
But
Anybody-
yeah, any other final points?
See,
other
this
points?
is why I won't be able to come again, because when I'm going to show up here, there's going to be an old lady sitting here and be like, I'm here for the podcast. And be like, what's a podcast? Get away from
I'll tell you if we move.
You better. I better be in state.
Anybody else got any final points on this?
No, I'm getting kicked out, and I've just been here once.
I mean, I think for me, it comes down to as Christians, we should not be afraid to do our own thing and be able to be creative in our artwork, even if that means going outside of the lines, even if that means going outside of what Christian culture has deemed acceptable or unacceptable. Because, like, we're, if you're a Christian, you believe that, we're made in the image of God, the creator of all things, of music, of sound, of everything that we experience. We're made in his image, so we were made to create, and we were made to think and do things. And so, we should draw from that well of inspiration of who we are in God and be able to make good art and be able to reflect a little bit of what God is like and what God has created. So, yeah, don't be afraid to be honest with yourself, even if that means going, against sort of what Christian culture deems as okay to do.
Yeah,
Agree?
I think you make a good point, Justin. Not to keep talking on it, but just don't be afraid. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid of what's outside of the
And
box.
if you make bad art, keep practicing.
Yeah.
And eventually, it could be good art.
God
Exactly.
said practice is
Yeah.
good.
Unless you're Keith, and then just give up.
Yeah, that's what I do. I give up. We'll be back in a minute.
And I was talking about Hughes.
Welcome back. And that was a reco from last week. That was Punch Brothers with Movement and Location. Thank you, Keith, for that. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When I heard that on the podcast last week, because I wasn't there, and so I've just been listening to the podcast again, and it's so weird because I think I've said this before, but like I want to jump in and be like, oh yeah, like that, but I can't. 'Cause I'm so used to being here, and so when you mentioned Punch Brothers, I was like, yes, thank you. And they play up here in Boone a lot, so and they're really good, so I enjoy them.
Very
so,
talented fellas.
So I second your recommendation.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you know, I mean, I always think that I'm going to get a different reaction. 'Cause I
You
love
always
Keith.
lead into it the same way.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm like,
Hey.
crap.
I know, because it's just so much fun. I think it's a shtick.
It's a bit of, there's some shtick involved.
There's a shtick involved.
Get a shtickle of fluoride.
Yeah, you know.
Seinfeld reference for the day.
I mean, I could try to change it up, but we haven't been doing it long enough to change it up.
No, that's true.
That's true.
I mean, we've only been doing it, a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's probably longer than you think. It's probably been about 15 weeks or so.
No way, dude.
When did I come along?
But we didn't start doing it till after Skylar came in.
Right, but when did I come along? Because
About
Skylar
episode
wasn't...
15.
Okay. It's probably been about 10 weeks then.
Yeah, I mean, it's not been but a few weeks. But I mean, I understand, the segue could be better. But remember, I'm not the artsy creative person. I'm just struggling over here.
Me and Keith are here.
Really? You can help? How much do you love me?
As much as his son loves his dad.
Okay.
What son are we talking about?
But yeah, we've been talking about how Christians shouldn't be afraid to venture out in their art and kind of do things different.
That is not art!
And we are venturing, and we think we're very artful in our endeavor.
Well, you can think that. Jeez.
Yeah. It's time to get juicy with Justin's Juicy Bits.
Skylar Miller, I will never forget you.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like an actual legitimate point, we shouldn't be also afraid to be silly and be, with our art and kind of do things differently in that
I
way.
think
Art doesn't have to always be serious.
Hey, I think we
Right.
have established the silly part tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Anytime Bobby's on with it, and if you don't hear Bobby for the rest of the show, that's because he actually had to go.
That's what happens when you have 3 kids and you're married.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
this is
still
your
here.
house, Keith.
Yeah, but all of your kids are like over the age of
16.
sophomore year.
Yeah, they're all the youngest is
Old.
16.
I'm married.
Yeah, I am old. I told you I was the old guy on the show. So Justin,
Yes.
we didn't get any juicy from you last week.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I had to take the place,
Yep.
and mine wasn't that good.
No. Well, that's why I'm here. So, I have a few stories for us today. The first one, it
It's
actually
from
comes...
Answers in Genesis. No.
the most trusted web news site. Jeez. So the first one comes from Mirror, which is a British site. But watch brainy Shih Tzu dog solve math problems faster than a toddler. So first of all, I love dogs. That I know that some people are cat people, some people are dog people, whatever. Like, I'm a huge dog person.
That's a shame.
And and more so, I love little dogs like Shih Tzus and all that stuff. Like my sister's dogs. One
That's a
of them's
bigger
a Shih Tzu, and they just look so derpy, and I love them.
Useless ones. You're talking about useless dogs.
They're not
that
useless. They're
have
full
no
of love.
No purpose.
No
They're
purpose.
full of love. Their purpose.
They
is to-
like
am I
you
saying? I have
because
one.
you feed them.
Where's she at?
Yeah, but again, it's not like all over.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically, it's this dog who can solve math problems, and like he does like these blocks. He fits the blocks into the thing. It says Cooper, the brainy Shih Tzu, sorts shapes and recognizes numbers, and has been deemed smarter than a toddler thanks to his talent. The dog genius can also stick his tongue out on command. Owner Christy Forrester thinks her pooch could have what it takes to make it in a show business. So they're trying to make money off of this, which I don't think is cool. But
Hold on a second. Did we
just wanna
just
throw this-
establish money was a good thing?
Yeah. I just want to throw it out there. I can make both of my dogs stick their tongue out anytime I want. I just
Exactly.
put a piece of bacon in my hand and boom, It's out.
No, well, that's fair, but I think, yeah, it says the 2-year-old dog knows about 60 different commands. The 28-year-old first recognized her animal was good at learning tricks when she taught him to stick his tongue out in command.
How old is this dog?
It's 2 years old.
Wow.
So when he was 3 months old, she took him to a puppy training and got the idea that she could teach him to do that. He performed so well at puppy school, he was given extra homework because he was advanced beyond the other dogs. This is starting to sound like a kid.
Yeah.
So they would spend about 20 minutes a day practicing tricks. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just a cute dog. And there's a video to go along with it. You can watch it.
We did.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't very impressive.
It was kind of, yeah.
I know, but I love cute dogs. So that's my cute story for today.
A dog's only smart if he can give high fives.
Yeah, high five dogs are cool.
No,
High five dogs are awesome.
Yeah.
And there was that dog that could kind of say words, but they could only say like one sentence.
Yeah.
It's like I love Ira or something
Yeah.
like that. Do you remember that one?
I mean, anybody can be Scooby.
Yeah.
You know, for me, and Shih Tzu is not one of the upper class smarter dogs.
So that's, yeah.
So I give this dog a little credit for being a very clever dog, but it's not one of the more smarter classes of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
When it can retrieve ducks on command, you call me.
Exactly. Now that is
Not run away when you're shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Point
birds. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, anyway.
that's a pretty impressive feat.
Hunting dogs are useful. These dogs are not.
German Shepherds are useful.
True story. They can do anything.
They're amazing.
Justin, I'm not going to give you any crap because my dog does nothing but cuddle and love. So
Yes, thank you.
She doesn't catch birds. She doesn't do any of that. And I also have Apollos.
There you go. Good old Apollos.
But as much as you
he's smart
think
as
you
well.
pick on Apollos, that dog is smart.
He's very smart.
He's
I'll give it
smart.
to him.
He
And
just
he's one
needs-
of those breeds too.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's a very useful breed. He's just been cooped up in a place that we haven't been able to give him the amount of love we want to give him.
But he's very smart. Don't let me take that away.
Yeah,
he knows.
No, how
Commands?
smart is he?
Very smart.
He knows how to break out of a house.
Yeah. No.
Let's just be real here. Since we're talking about dogs,
Hold on. He has got. He's went through 2 kennel doors. Now he has 2x4 doors ratchet strapped to his kennel
with metal.
With metal, great on the inside.
I built a wooden structure, ratchet strapped it to the structure, so he wouldn't get out while they were gone. He found a way out of it and went out the back door.
Well, and he chewed through the wood, and only the piece that he knew he could squeeze through. Like he chewed it in the right spot so he could push through it, break it, then get out.
So-
and he also can open my back door.
Yeah, so he may be a pain in the butt, but he is a smart dog.
He's smart. Yeah, I'll give him that. Sometimes
Too smart for his own good.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
is. That's exactly what it is.
Next story, Justin.
Yep.
Yeah, so going along with the animal stories.
Of course.
So I found this one. This was on NBC News. So, squirrel detained by German police for stalking woman.
He's just trying to get a nut.
So
I can make so many bad jokes.
I know. I'm just flying past it. A squirrel has become an online sensation since it was reportedly, quote, detained when a woman called police to complain it was stalking her. The panicked woman was unable to shake the rodent in the western German city of Bottrop, so turned to the authorities in desperation on Wednesday. North Rhine-Westphalia police took in the squirrel and found it was suffering exhaustion. Officers were helping the animal recover by feeding it pieces of apple and honey tea. A video uploaded to the police force's Facebook page showing the animal being fed has been watched over 400,000 times because it's freaking cute. The animal will be transferred to a local animal shelter once it is recovered. So, yeah, I just think that's funny that in a Western German town that a woman thought that the squirrel was stalking her.
Yeah.
Maybe, was it like a little gray squirrel? Because I know in our area we have little gray squirrels and we have fox squirrels, and maybe she was a fox squirrel to him because they're big.
Yeah.
They are big.
They're really big.
What kind of person thinks a squirrel is stalking them?
Yeah, and that's my point.
The article shouldn't be about the squirrel. Let's talk about this lady.
The articles about that lady are called case studies at psychological institutions.
She's actually in a hospital as we speak.
Okay, so that one, we took that one too far. So what's next?
All right, next. So I really love this one. So hitchhiking robot can't get out of Massachusetts.
He likes the picture.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
So this comes from the Associated Press. A robot hitchhiking journey across the U.S. is off to a slow start. The robot is named Hitchbot. Caught its first ride in Marblehead, Massachusetts last week, bound for San Francisco, but he still hasn't left the state. Instead, it has bounced around the Boston area and was briefly taken to sea. On Friday, the humanoid robot took in a Red Sox game. The robot is immobile and relies on strangers to transport it from place to place. It's the creation of 2 researchers in Canada who wanted to study how people interact with robots. The robot automatically documents its travels on social media. Previously, Hitchbot took 26 days to travel across Canada. Its creator said that it had a slow start there too, but then quickly zipped across the country. So yeah, I remember the story coming out a few years ago in Canada so it's this tiny little robot and it has like this face and it's like, hey, I'm headed to, and it has like a destination. Now it's like San Francisco. And basically they put it on one end of the country and it's literally like a hitchhiking robot. People pick it up and it goes different places and it has a social media account where it documents like what it did that day.
So how long has this been going on? Because you said it was a few years ago when you heard about it.
Yeah, and that's when it happened in Canada.
Okay, that's when it started.
Yeah, that's when it started, and it went across the country in Canada, and now apparently they've started it in America right now. I think it's the same robot and everything, but they're just trying the experiment again. And it's really interesting because people take pictures with it, and there's like hashtags and all that stuff. Cool. And just
Obviously,
traveling with the robot.
I hope it makes it here. I'd totally give it a ride.
Obviously, little girls like to hold its hands too.
Yeah, that's all I see is women and the robot. But hey, if you're a ladies' man, you're a ladies' man.
Yeah, I mean,
got more style than
he's
Keith does.
He's got a strong jaw. So, what?
I love you, Keith.
I love you too.
But yeah, I love social experiments like that. Like if you like how people take their time out to do something that's kind of, it seems insignificant, but I don't know. I really love that idea how something can get from one place to another like that.
Speaking about social experiments,
Yes, I'm excited for this one.
I'm waiting for your next one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the next one.
I'm gonna put it all over my bathroom.
So the last story for tonight comes from Huffington Post.
My shower.
Urine-proof paint returns fire on peeing perps. Hard partiers beware. In the hot, sticky summers of many American cities, the smell of urine can be all too familiar. San Francisco is peeing back at public urinators by painting its walls with UV-coated urine-repellent paint. The paint is so hydrophobic that it keeps the wall clean and sprays the urine right back at offenders. Quote, we are piloting it to see if we can discourage people from peeing at many of our hotspots. Public Works Director Muhammad Nuru told SF Gate, nobody wants to smell urine. We are trying different things to make San Francisco smell nice and look beautiful. So basically, yeah, it's this. They have like a diagram.
Yeah,
neon diagram.
Yeah.
Did they really need that?
They clarified them as hot spots.
Yeah.
That's that bad that the people are peeing so much that it's hot spots?
Well, and it's hot because, urine hot.
Pee is hot. It's very warm.
But here's my thing. Okay, most people peeing on a wall is drunk.
Yes.
Now, I understand if you're like Big Daddy-ish and you're teaching your kid to, since we were speaking about Adam Sandler earlier, we're just going to pee on the wall.
Yeah.
But if you're drunk, and I'm watching this, please go to the podcast page and click on this link so you can see the diagram we're talking about if you're listening to us.
It's worth it.
forgettingwalls.com/podcast, and you'll go down to episode 32 and hit read more, and you'll get the links. I'm just saying this out loud. I'm watching this diagram, and you see which I would say before. He's peeing in the wall, and the pee dribbles down the wall and forms a puddle. Right.
Mm-hmm. As pee does.
Now, and on the second one where they apply the paint, the pee
almost
reflects.
It almost ricochets.
It's like literally hitting the wall and bouncing right back at him and hitting him on his feet. Being a drunk person, peeing against the wall, and here's what happens in the diagram. As soon as the pee bounces off the wall and hits him in the feet, he jumps back and starts to back away from the wall. Realistically, what's going to happen is the drunk man is going to continue to pee until his shoes are soaking wet because he won't know he's even do that.
Or he'll just aim it elsewhere and pee on someone else.
Yeah, one or two things are going to happen, but he's not going to stop the peeing.
Yeah, I think
because that's a hard thing to do.
At least for a guy. I don't know about for women. I don't know how that thing works, but
No, wait a minute. If there are women peeing on the walls,
Hey.
you are being mean. You are being mean. You have to take it out of your time. You have to make a purpose to pee on this wall. You must not like that building.
But no. That brings us to another point.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so a little over half of Americans are female, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
How is this going to affect them peeing in public at all?
no, it's not.
Exactly. So this is only solving half the pee problem.
Yes.
And unless you put like the reflective paint on the sidewalk, and can it bounce back up?
Hey, that hydrophobic coatings, that's some interesting stuff. It probably could. Or it could at least like divert it to her shoes, and then she wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, because they will care about the shoes, even drunk.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it is a good idea. We'll just have to.
We'll just have to coat the whole world in
Tell them,
hydrophobic
hey,
paint.
cover the walls, the sidewalks, the roads.
Snow.
Oh, that would suck.
That would suck. I can't write my name. You don't know how to spell anyway. Be quiet. Oh, Justin. That I
Those
like.
are my stories.
I'm glad you saved that one for last. Now I've got one. No, we're not going to do it. No.
Okay.
We're not going to make fun of nobody tonight. We're going to be good. All I have to say is don't watch Left Behind starring Nicolas Cage. 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. It sucked.
Hey, the audience score is 43%.
Yeah, but they were. Oh, never mind.
That's bad, but that's not that bad.
No, that's people who are blind and deaf.
Oh.
And just fumbled on the website and just clicked like.
You're probably right, actually.
Because there is no way a person.
That's when you give monkeys. You ever seen monkeys on the internet? They play around and they click stuff. They're like, oh, they're doing something. No, they're not.
They're just beefing up Rotten Tomatoes scores. That's all they do.
They set it up.
Dude, that would be the most fun game ever. Just troll Rotten Tomatoes and just get like 40 different like accounts, and then like just like randomly like really crappy movies.
Someone's like, oh, this one's really good.
Beef up the audience score to like certified fresh level.
Man, we need to watch this. Why do I believe Rotten Tomatoes? I mean, you would ruin the credibility of Rotten Tomatoes.
That would be
instantly.
hilarious to
That'd
me.
be great. That'd be great.
Tear it down.
So don't pee on walls. Don't trust Shih Tzus to do math problems. Squirrels are not stalkers.
Don't be afraid of boxes.
Yeah, don't be afraid of boxes. Hope you learned something tonight. If not, we nerded out on this thing super bad. Yeah. All the females, we're sorry. If you made it to the end and you're here now, we apologize.
Please don't pee on the walls.
No, we don't.
Shut up, man. I'm trying to be nice. I know.
I mean, we are who we are.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
So,
Isn't that a
anyways,
Lady Gaga song?
We are.
Who sings that? No, that's Kesha, isn't it?
That is Kesha, I think.
Oh, my fault. Sorry,
Crazy
Lady
Y'all are-
Gaga.
Kids.
y'all
That's
are-
what it's called. It's called
y'all
Crazy
are
Kids.
out of my wheelhouse.
Sorry, Lady Gaga.
You're out of my wheelhouse.
Basically the same.
Bad.
Anyway.
Anyways, we love you. We had fun tonight. Just want
Yeah.
to remember that people are not projects. They're people like you and me. So love them like you love yourself. You know.
Is that how you're going to end it?
No, I wasn't going to end it that way. You know, I was thinking about like what I was doing, and I completely forgot what I was doing. And I was like, man, you know,
I
just
thought
love
he was
them.
going
Like,
to work the soundboard a little bit.
yeah, I can't work the soundboard because I don't have. It's whatever. I just got to redo all that. So,
Cool.
you know, some nights it works, some nights it don't. But anyways, I should be able to edit all that out and say, just remember, people are not projects. They're people just like you and me. So love them like you love yourself, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Forgetting Walls podcast. If you're subscribing to us on iTunes, leave us a rating to help us spread the word about this podcast. Remember, the only way this works is if you share your story. So be sure to visit the website and leave us a comment at forgettingwalls.com, or find us on Twitter at forgettingwalls and facebook.com/forgettingwalls.
Peace! I never forget about you.
Bueller.
I totally forgot about that.
Bueller.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Thanks, you jerk.